Hey guys, so today I'm going to show you how to track lyrics to actual footage, something along the lines of this. So it's a pretty cool effect. It can make a lyric video pretty epic. Maybe your client's going to give you money to go shoot footage beforehand, or you have a bunch of stock footage already that you could track lyrics to. I just went down into my garage really quickly and just filmed this clip. Just for this tutorial. I'll include it in the description below, just in case you want to download and follow along. I also have this crop marker in here. I'll show you what we're going to do with that later, and I'll also include it. So we're just going to drag both these files into After Effects. I'm just going to right click on the footage and click New Comp from Selection, and that'll just make a composition that already has the footage in it with the right frame rates and everything like that. So in the new versions of After Effects, it has this under perspective, it has 3D camera trackers. So that's what we're going to use today. So make sure your footage is selected, go down to perspective and 3D camera tracker, and it'll automatically just start analyzing the footage and placing tracking markings around the footage. If you don't have Adobe CS6 or CC, if you have an older version, there are ways to do it using the built-in tracker panel. But it doesn't always work the best, and it doesn't give you a 3D camera out of it either. It's more of just a flat 2D position tracker. I can show you how to use it in another tutorial, but for now we're just going to focus on this one. As well, when you're doing this stuff, you kind of have to think about it in advance. Footage that works better are generally wider shots and stuff that has a lot of information for the tracker to find tracking marks. So like, for example, in this footage, it's most likely going to place tracking markers all along the edges of these poles because they're really contrasted with the ground and they just stick out a lot. So it usually finds hard contrasted edges to place markers around. So it's almost done here. And as soon as it's done, it's going to pop up a bunch of different tracking markers. And we'll just give it a second. There we go. So now it's just solving the camera. And there you go. So these are all the tracking markers. Like I said, you can see they're all around the edges of high contrast areas. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick a spot to start putting our words in. So if you go in between any 3 points, it'll show you a bunch of different positions that it's tracked. So I'm just going to pick a pretty general one. This one right here between these 3 points. We're going to right click and go to create null and camera. And now what it's going to do is give us a null object that is tracked to that point. You can see if I play the footage, it's moving with the footage. But we're not going to use this null for anything else other than the information that's inside of it. So just for now, I'm just going to call this position reference. And we can just turn it off too. So what we're going to do is take a text layer and throw it in. Put your text in however you want. And we're going to turn it onto a 3D layer. And I'm also going to turn the motion blur on as well. Just pull it down under the camera. I'm just going to line up the anchor as well. And then what we're going to want to do is click on this position reference null that we made and press P. And it'll show you the position information of where it is in the 3D space. So if you click on the word position and Command C to copy, go down to your lyrics, click P, and then Control V, and it'll paste the same position information into the lyric layer. So you can already see that it's already tracked in position, although it's really big. So you can either scale it down or you can move it back in the Z-axis however you want, like that. So already that's pretty simple to do. Another trick that I did just for this one, this sample, was I added this pole in right here so that I could kind of tuck the lyrics behind it and make it look like there was more 3D space. So to do that, we're going to drop in our footage layer over top, and I'm just going to go to the start of it And I'm just going to mask out really quickly using the pen tool here, this pole. Like that. So now if we turn off the bottom layer, you can see we've just masked out just the pole. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to turn that onto a 3D layer. I'm going to put the blur on, and we're going to go back to the first layer of footage that's tracked, go to the effects controls, click on the camera tracker, and we're going to find, using the pointer object, we're going to find just three markers together over this pole, so it'll be in that general area. So I'm going to create a new null by right-clicking in between 3 points. It's giving me this null up here, so we'll call this one pole reference, and we'll turn it off. We'll click P, and we'll copy that position, and we'll go down, we'll rename this one pole, and we'll press P and then Command V, and it'll paste that information in. Now it's saying that it's way further ahead in the z-axis than it appears, so we're going to just pull this back in the z-axis until it comes into frame like that, and position it down. Now this is what I gave the crop marks for, just because this footage is cropped. I gave one for a 720p timeline. You can just literally drag this down right over top and it'll just crop it out so the pole wasn't sticking out over top of the footage like that. So already, and so one more thing we have to do is, since this is footage, it's going to obviously move out of position like that. So if you click on the pole right at the start where you masked it, and then go down to layer, time, freeze frame, it'll stay in position the whole time like that. And then you could just, you know, scale these up. And now if the lyrics, if you press P, are actually ahead of the pole in the z-axis. So if we pull this back and we pull the pole forward like that, scale this up, move the pole over, you can see that now this is, the lyrics are behind it like that. And just turn it on overlay, give it a cool effect. And that's pretty much it, the basics of it anyways. The other cool thing with the tracking information that's already in there is pretty much anything that you put on a 3D layer, it'll automatically go into the space. So in my sample footage that I have, I threw in a solid layer and I added trap code particular, which is a particle plugin that I really like to use. And if I just quickly set one up here, like so. And just drag this down under the camera. I'm just going to turn the opacity down a bit. Actually, I'm just going to right click and make it an overlay layer. So now you'll see these particles are already in 3D space, and they're already going to be tracked right into the footage along with the lyrics and everything else. So there you go. So it's pretty easy to do. And like I said, you could go source a lot of awesome wide shots or big landscape footage or anything like that and give it a shot. It can make your lyric videos look pretty epic. Thanks for watching. I'm going to do a new video every Wednesday at least. Sometimes there might be more. And yeah, please subscribe if you like what you're seeing. Thanks.